Yes, sir. Certainly. It was I who found the body. This morning, as usual, I went to cut my daily quota of cedars when I found the body in a grove, in a hollow in the mountains. The exact location, about 150 meters off the Yamashina Stage Road. The body was lying flat on its back, dressed in a bluish silk kimono and a wrinkled headdress of the Kyoto style. A single sword stroke had pierced the breast. The fallen bamboo blades around it were stained with bloody blossoms. No, the blood was no longer running. The wound had dried up, I believe. And also a gadfly was stuck fast there, hardly noticing my footsteps. No, nothing, sir. I found only a rope at the root of a cedar nearby, and in addition to a rope, I found a comb. That was all. Apparently he must have made a battle of it before he was murdered, because the grass and fallen bamboo blades had been trampled down all around. A horse was nearby? No, sir, it's hard enough for a man to enter, let alone a horse.
The time? Certainly. It was about noon yesterday, sir. The unfortunate man was on the road from Sekiyama to Yamashina. He was walking towards Sekiyama with a woman accompanying him on horseback, who I have since learned was his wife. A scarf hanging from her head hid her face from view. All I saw was the color of her clothes, a lilac-colored suit. Her horse was a sorrel with a fine mane. The lady's height? Oh, about 4 feet 5 inches. Since I am a Buddhist priest, I took little notice about her details. Well, the man was armed with a sword as well as a bow and arrows, and I remember that he carried some 20-odd arrows in his quiver.
The man that I arrested, he is a notorious brigand called Tajo Maru. When I arrested him, he had fallen off his horse. He was groaning on the bridge at Awataguchi. The time, it was in the early hours of last night. For the record, I might say that the other day I tried to arrest him, but unfortunately he escaped. He was wearing a dark blue silk kimono and a large plain sword, and as you see, he got a bow and arrows somewhere. You say that this bow and these arrows look like the ones owned by the dead man? Then Tajomaru must be the murderer! The bow, wound with leather strips, the black lacquered quiver, the 17 arrows with hawk feathers. These were all in his possessions, I believe. Yes, sir, the horse is, as you say, a sorrel with a fine mane. A little beyond the stone bridge I found the horse grazing by the roadside, with his long rein dangling. Surely there is some providence in his having been thrown by the horse.
Yes, sir. That corpse is the man who married my daughter. He does not come from Kyoto. He was a samurai in the town of Kokufu in the province of Wakasa. His name was Kanazawa no Takehiko and his age was 26. My daughter, her name is Masago and her age is 19. Yesterday, Takehiko left for Wakasa with my daughter. I hate that robber Tajumaru, or whatever his name is.
I killed him, but not her. Where's she gone? I can't tell. Yesterday, a little past noon, I met that couple. Just then, a puff of wind blew and raised the hanging scarf so that I caught a glimpse of her face. Instantly, it was again covered from my view. That may have been one reason she looked Like a bodhisattva. At that moment, I made up my mind to capture her, even if I had to kill her man. But it would be good if I could capture a woman without killing her man. So I made up my mind to capture her and do my best not to kill him. But it's out of the question on the Yamashina stage road. So I managed to lure the couple into the mountains. The grove is only bamboo for some distance, about 50 yards. In ahead, there's a rather open clump of cedars. As soon as we got there, I seized him from behind. Because he was trained, sword-bearing warrior, he was quite strong. But he was taken by surprise, so there was no help for him. I soon tied him up to the root of a cedar. Where did I get a rope? Thank heaven, being a robber, I had a rope with me, since I might have to scale a wall at any moment. Of course, it was easy to stop him from calling out by gagging his mouth with fallen bamboo leaves. When I disposed of him, I went to his woman and asked her to come and see him, because he seemed to have been suddenly taken sick. It's needless to say that this plan also worked well. The woman, her sedge hat off, came into the depths of the grove, where I led her by the hand. The instant she caught sight of her husband, she drew a small sword. I've never seen without a weapon. Yes, without taking his life. I had no wish to kill him. I was about to run away from the grove, leaving the woman behind in tears, when she frantically clung to my arm. In broken fragments of words, she asked that either her husband or I die. She said it was more trying than death to have her shame known to two men. She gasped out that she wanted to be the wife of whichever survived. Then a furious desire to kill him seized me. As I saw her eye to eye, I wanted to make her my. Even if I were to be struck by lightning, I wanted to make her my wife. But I did not like to resort to unfair means to kill him. I untied him and told him to cross swords with me. The rope that was found at the root of the cedar is the rope I dropped at the time. The 23rd stroke. Please remember this. When he fell, I turned toward her, lowering my blood-stained sword. But to my great astonishment, she was gone. I wondered to where she had run away. I looked for her in the clump of cedars. I listened, but heard only a groaning sound from the throat of the dying. As soon as we started to cross swords, she may have run away through the grove to call for help. When I thought of that, I decided it was a matter of life and death to me, so robbing him of his sword and bow and arrows, I ran out to the mountain road.
That man in the blue silk kimono, after forcing me to yield to him, laughed mockingly as he looked at my bound husband. How horrified my husband must have been, but no matter how hard he struggled in agony, the rope cut into him all the more tightly. In spite of myself, I ran stumblingly towards his side, or rather, I tried to run towards him, but the man instantly knocked me down. Just of time I came to and found out the man in blue silk was gone. I saw only my husband, still bound to the root of cedar. I raised myself from the bamboo blades with difficulty and looked into his face, but the expression in his eyes was just the same as before. Benjiro, since things have come to this pass, I cannot live with you. I'm determined to die, but you must die too. You saw my shame. I can't leave you as you are. Fortunately, my small sword was lying at my feet. Neither conscious nor unconscious, I stabbed the small sword through the lilac-colored kimono into his breast. I killed my own husband. I was violated by the robber. Whatever can I do? Whatever can I?
Speak comforting words to her. Of course I couldn't speak. My whole body was tied fast to the root of a cedar. But meanwhile, I winked at her many times, as much as to say, "Don't believe the robber." I wanted to convey some such meaning to her, but my wife, sitting dejectedly on the bamboo leaves, was looking hard at her lap. "Since your virtue is stained, you won't get along well with your husband, so won't you be my wife instead? It's my love for you that made me be violent toward you." "Truly," she said, "then take me away with you wherever you go." This is not the whole of her sin. Quietly folding his arms, he looked at me and said, "What will you do with her? Kill her or save her? You have only to nod. Kill her?" For these words alone, I would like to pardon his crime. While I hesitated, she shrieked and ran into the depths of the grove. The robber instantly snatched at her, but he failed even to grasp her sleeve. After she ran away, he took up my sword and my bow and arrows. With a single stroke, he cut one of my bonds. I remember his mumbling, "My fate is next." Then he disappeared from the grove. I raised my exhausted body from the root of the cedar. In front of me there was shining the small sword which my wife had dropped. I took it up and stabbed it into my breast. Then someone crept up to me. I tried to see who it was, but darkness had already been gathering round me. That someone, drew the small sword softly out of my breast in its invisible hand. At the same time, once more blood flowed into my mouth, and once and for all I sank down into the darkness of space.